Good morning, and thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. You know what I like to do on the show. I want to enlighten, inspire, and empower you to become your best self. Now, Scripture reminds us that the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. And today, we want to get you fired up about a series of books. That's right. My guest today is Jenna Wilder, and her series is The Prowl. Now, I know, it is an interesting title, and I can't wait to talk about her as well. So go on, get your coffee, get your tea, get comfy, get cozy, because we are about to get started. Good morning, Jenna. Thank you so much for being on the show today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Now, I love the fact when young people go out and conquer the world. When they start and say, this is my dream, this is my passion, and I am going to bring it to fruition, I want to stand up and give applause, a little bit extra than what we give to regular adults, because that takes an inner strength, an inner knowing, and, of course, stepping out in faith is something that many people find hard to do. So congratulations for being a young person who's out there making it happen. With that being said, I have to ask, what has made you the person that you are today?
I think I'd like to say that what's made me the person that I am is mostly just my family, you know, just support and the love and how they've helped me grow to the person that I am today. So I give thanks to them for who I am.
And I love that when listeners, I love how she really and truly says that, because when she writes, you know, in various other places, and she explains who has helped motivate her, she says, my mother, my brother, my sister, my grandmother. You know, it's like, quote, my grandmother would call it my God-given gift. And it is so awesome when we are able to acknowledge those who have really prompted us, who have been our support team, and those people that help confirm the gift that God has placed in us. That is awesome. So shout out to your fam for being awesome. That is great. I have a very supportive family as well, and I'm always telling folks, it's like, listen, if you don't have a support team, you need to find a support team, because it definitely makes a difference. And not necessarily someone who's going to bankroll your efforts, but someone who's going to be a cheerleader for you, to encourage you and keep you going in those times. I love that. Now, what made you decide that being an author was something you wanted to do? Was there a particular moment that you realized words have power and I need to start writing?
Well, there was a time where I was homeschooled for a little bit. So with that time to myself, it just started to make me really think, like, I have so much to say and so much time. And I just started to write on a computer, and the things that I wrote started off as poetry, and then that poetry became stories. And then I was just like, I really want to publish these books and put it out there and spread it through the world.
Now, do I understand that you started writing at the age of 16?
Yes.
So that really does make a difference. You know, shout out to all those literature and English teachers and moms and dads that get us inspired with literature, with the written word, because that can really spark you as well. Now, as far as The Prowl is concerned, when you started with book number 1, did you know at that moment that you wanted to turn it into a series? Was that the intent, or did it kind of get good and you said, you know what, I have more to say, and it turned into a series?
I think that's how it started, because I wasn't going to make a series to it, but as I got through it, it was like, well, this is really good. I can really explore on this part and this part. Well, they need to know more about this and that. I'm like, instead of trying to stuff it all up in one book, let's stretch it out and make them want more, put it out a second one and maybe a third one. Just keep going until we get to the root of the story.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Now, speaking of the story, can you tell us what is book number 1 about, and what Was there a particular message that you wanted to get across in book number 1?
Well, in Prowl, it was like, this young girl, she was adopted. And so she never really had a full understanding of who she was. But she had this good family. She had all the love and support she can get. And she's like, why even try to even explore the other part if life is so good right here? So when one day everything starts to change, then she's like, well, then maybe I need to start exploring the other parts of my life and who I am, because she's changing into this werecat, this creature. Mm-hmm. And she's not just changing over this overnight for no reason. It's got to be for a reason. And that brings her to this other family she never even knew about.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I see where you're going. Now, I can hear someone saying, did she just say she's turning into a werecat? And it's like, what? There's a world. I had no idea. Now, I happen to understand what you are talking about, because there are so many different levels and people who are unfamiliar. What is the difference between a werewolf and a werecat and all of that? It kind of enlighten us a little.
Okay, well, a werewolf is obviously one who turns into a wolf. But I like the idea of a werecat because it's different. It goes into, like, this feline nature. Mm-hmm. And I put a difference to a werecat than a werewolf. A werewolf, you get bit and you get turned. But with a werecat, you are, like, reawakened or transformed. So some can be born that due to a parent that's already a werecat. Mm-hmm. Or they can die and become a werecat, like, they're just transformed into this whole other person. They're reawakened as something else.
I love it. I love it. Now, see, someone right now, you just piqued their interest, and they said, now, I need this book. I need this book. And you're so right, because I think for so many people, the reason why they don't read this particular genre is because the werewolf is something that's frightening, and it's like nobody wants to be bitten. No one wants that. But it's like, that's crazy. Why would I want to turn into like this zombie thingy that's animal-ish? I love it. I love it. See, you're being mindful. I think that's wonderful. Now, for someone who says, well, I'm familiar. I know these types of books, and it's the same thing as people understanding the difference between a vampire and a zombie, or the difference between, fairies and all this other stuff. What makes your book so special? So, Jenna, that's my question for you. What makes your book so special?
That's a good question. I mean, I think there are so many good books out there, and for different reasons they're special. But I think what makes mine is that you don't hear much about werecats. It's always werewolves and zombies. Stuff like that. It's all pretty basic and pretty much the same at the end of the day. But what I like about werecats, it's like there's something more to it. And there was just so much of it that I found online, how werecats were either looked at as kings or queens, or revived kings or queens with souls. And I like how I can use that and be like, hey, instead of being bitten or scratched and turned into this thing, you're dying from one life and be reawakened into another life, and you're stepping into a new person. So here she is trying to become this whole new person, but she didn't die or she didn't get bit. She was just born that way. And at like the prime time of puberty, she's just growing up and she's getting older, and suddenly she's this whole other person. So I like how go through, like, you coming out of your childhood days and coming into adulthood, and she's becoming this whole other person she doesn't even understand.
And what a wonderful way of showing the juxtaposition between real life and fiction. Of saying we do and no one should forget that they once went through puberty as well. You know, we do have some older adults who forget that they were ever a teenager, and it's like, come on now. You did some stuff that drove your parents crazy, or you probably look back and laugh on now. So it is a difficult time for so many young people if they don't have, if they don't understand what's going on. You know, if no one explained it to them, or they don't have anyone to talk to, or they just don't understand that their moods are going to swing the same way that they do when we're adults. You know, just all of that. So, I love that you thought about that as well. Now, how many books are there total in your series, and what makes each one of them different? Can you buy them independently and just start reading, or do you need to start with book one and go through the series?
Well, right now there's only one, but the series that's coming, it'll be about, I'd say maybe about 4 others. And to understand the 4 others, you'd have to read the first one to get the other ones as well, because it's like steps. You get from one step to another and to another. You're like going through this whole flight to get to the top. So for you to get to the top, you have to go from down low and all the way to the second one, third, and the fourth. And then when you get there, you're like having all of it come together to understand the story.
I love it.
Yeah.
Now, did you have any particular pros or cons when it came to writing your characters? Was there anything? Let's start with the main character. Did you have any pros or cons when it came to writing that character?
I don't think so. I mean, I really just wanted her to be as relatable as possible.
Okay. And it's so funny because, and I asked that question of so many authors, because you just never know what the person's going to say. You know, it really and truly is. Some people are like, no, not at all. She was totally and completely in my head. I just needed to get her out. You know, when other people are, yes, because I didn't want to make the person like a real person that I knew. You know, I didn't want anyone to think, is she talking about me in the book? You know, so it's really interesting to hear how each author answers that question. Now, for someone who is just being introduced to your book series as of today, is there a particular message, or is there something special that you want for the reader of your book to get out of the book once they purchase?
I would want readers to just see that, because with Josephine in the story of Prowl, she was one person, but now she's becoming this whole other person. So I would want readers to see that no matter the situation or the people or whatever we decide at the end of the day, we make the person we become. And I love that no matter what she's turning into or what she's going through, and yes, she's going to have hard times and she's going to lose her way on the path, but she's always going to come right back and realize that she makes who she is. And I want readers to see that somehow, even in fiction, you can find that it's as relatable as it is in real life.
I love it. Well, it is just about time for us to go to break. But before we do, if I could have you remind everyone, please, what is the title of your book? Where can we get a copy? And how do we stay in contact with you?
It's The Prowl in Heat. You can look up the website, theprowlseries.com. You can go to Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, even Ex Libris, where I published the book, and you can definitely get it any of those ways. And you can always reach me on Facebook.
Gotcha. Righty, listeners, now you know where you can get a copy of the book. We'll be back right after this.
Hi everyone, Dr. Angela here. Did you know that Daily Spark is now on Facebook? That's right. You can visit with me at facebook.com/Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I want to know more about what you're thinking. I'd love to know which interview did you find the most entertaining or the most informative. I want to talk to you, and I want you to be able to talk to me. Simply visit facebook.com/Daily Spark with Dr. Angela.
We're home during COVID-19, but we're not alone. New Life Pastoral Counseling can help. For affordable Christian counseling, visit newlifepastoralcounseling.com or call 562-209-2083 today.
Discovery, not just a sec.
What would it look like if we listened more? Could the right voice, the right set of words, bring us all just a little closer, get us to open up, even push us further? It could, if we took the time to listen. The most inspiring minds, the most compelling stories. Download Audible and listen for a change.
And we are back. Thank you so much for joining me for Daily Spark with Dr. Angela. I am your host, Dr. Angela Butts-Chester. My guest today is Jenna Wilder. We're talking about her book, The Prowl. In fact, it is a series of books, so you need to stop by her website and make sure that you pick it up. Now, my next question for you is, you have a book entitled Demon in You. Can you tell us a little bit about that book as well?
Well, that one is very interesting. It's more so, it's different from the Prowl. It's definitely more stuck on religion, faith, and belief. And, you know, the physical, mental, and spiritual warfare in one person.
I gotcha. And the title kind of alludes to that, so I like that. Now, what makes Demon in You and The Prowl different? And flip side of the coin, are there any things that make them similar or kind of cross over just a bit?
Well, what makes them the two, I would say, similar is because they both revolve around a girl who becomes different, who becomes something or someone different. But both girls are coming into their own person and jumping over different obstacles. However, what makes them different is that one is based on this mythical background and a whole bunch of other folklore, while the other one is based on, as I said, faith and religion and belief. It's more spiritual than the other.
So now I hate to, put you on the spot like this, because I do understand as an author, it's like your books are your babies and you never have a favorite child. But I have to ask, do you have a favorite book, simply not from the perspective of being an author, but do you have a favorite book? If you were the reader, would you choose one or the other, or would you say, hey, I need them both because they're equally just as good?
Well, I love them both because, like, they are but Demon in You is my favorite. However, The Prowl, I feel, is more refined because it was just brought together better. And I guess because I was young with Demon in You, it wasn't put together as perfect as I would have liked it to.
I gotcha.
So if I had to say which one readers should get, I would say The Prowl.
That was such a correct answer. I love that. It's like you never choose between your children. It's like, this is my favorite son and my favorite daughter. Yes. And they're like, but that's your only son and your only daughter. And it's like, absolutely, they're both my faves. Yes. So I gotcha. And I love how you gave that context. So does that mean that perhaps with Demon in You, we can expect for it to have a different edition at some point? Would you ever considering going in and updating or revising or giving a more mature view? Or do you think that it is what it is, and it should stay as it stands?
Well, because Demon, you hold such a special place in my heart, I have been revisiting it and, refreshing it and refining it and making it as good as I think it can be. So, yes, I definitely plan on putting it back out there in a better edition.
I love it. It's so funny that for some people, they think that you can't do an additional edition, and it's like, absolutely not. There are so many books out there that we are reading the third or fourth, fifth edition of the book, because as things change, you update and you want it current and you want it to be relatable to the people of now. Not talking about the classics. There's some stuff you'll never change, but it's like some things need to actually be refreshed. I love that. I love it. Now, I would love to ask you about your process. I have so many people that always comment and they say, well, Dr. Angela, we love when you ask the authors about what it's like to be an author. So if you don't mind, I want to kind of change gears just a little and ask those questions. My first question is, when you are writing, for so many people, they need to have a particular environment, they need a particular atmosphere, be it that they want to be away in their room or they want to go to Starbucks or, they want to go to the beach, whatever it is. Do you have a particular environment or atmosphere that you need to have in order to write successfully?
I believe my process is that I just have to be in a comfortable space where I can just sit and it's somewhere quiet. I have to have music on, and usually I find that at nighttime it's my best time to write, and I don't know why. It's like all the things I want to put down just come to me better at night when I'm just sitting somewhere quiet and no one's bothering me, and I can just listen and let my fingers flow.
It's so funny that you say that, because I happen to be a night person, but so many authors have said that as well. It's like the world is a little more quiet, a little more still, and all of the responsibilities of the day have kind of been put to bed, if you will. And it's like now I can just concentrate and I can do this, and I can kind of get out my thoughts. Now, when you were you finally sent off everything, it is now published, and your book is in your hand. You are holding it, looking at it. What did it feel like in that moment to have a tangible copy of all of your hard work?
It kind of feels unreal to have, your own little piece of work. They have your name and has everything you've written on your computer, on your piece of paper. It's now in front of you in a book, and it just feels so unreal and unnatural, because it's like, did I write this?
Right. I love it. Now, I was an adult when I had the experience of having a published book, so I can only imagine as a young person that is even just that much better. But you're right. You open it and you look at it and you go, wow, I did this. Like, I did this. And other people are going to be able to get this information. Now, when you were able to share this with others, be it that it was family members or just the general public, did you have an expectation as far as, like, I want to sell 100 copies, or I can't wait till I get to, a certain number? Or did you just have what a lot of authors say is, if one person buys my book, I'm just happy with that one person and the fact that I was able to change them or enlighten their lives? How did you feel about that?
I think a lot of authors would want, like, the whole world to just read their books, and that's amazing. But I was satisfied if, just like a couple of people or even just the members of my family were able to read it. And I was like, you know what? For now, I can settle with just a few people reading my book, and I can wait to get there to when the whole world reads about it. I wasn't rushing. I was patient, because, everything comes at its own pace. Everything comes with time.
And now the whole world's going to hear, yet again, about your book. So I think that is just absolutely awesome. You know, if you are looking for a gift to purchase, I think that this would be a great thing to do with the international audience tuning in and hearing about your book. I think that we can definitely support this young author in her works. Now, when it comes to wanting to choose the cover of your book, did you find that it was something that came quite naturally or easily? Like, did you know exactly how you wanted the cover to look? Or was it a process for you in figuring out and working with whomever you worked with? Was there a process there, or were you very clear on, I want it to be this and that?
Well, when they sent over a couple of things for me to look at to say, like, hey, would you like this for your book or you would like that, I had this clear image in my head as to how I wanted my book to look, because the first thing a person looks at is the cover. Mm-hmm. And if the cover doesn't match that name, they are not going to touch it. So I had this perfect way as to how I wanted my book to look, and I think they followed through with that and made it just as I wanted it.
And you are so right. You know, unfortunately, we do judge a book by its cover. Yes. You know, be it that that's the right way or the wrong way to go about it, but we really and truly do. And I know that I've been guilty of that. You know, I look at it all and go, oh, well, that looks interesting, because I haven't even opened it to read to find out, or even the back cover for that matter, to find out what the book is about. I am strictly looking at what they present. I tell you, marketing is a powerful tool. I have to agree with you on that.
Yes.
Now, as far as going on like book tour and all of that, for so many people, they have an aspiration of going on a version of a book tour, be it that it's a virtual book tour, it's a tour within their city or their state, and some people want to go on a national tour. Do you have aspirations of course, when we're able and to do it safely?
Right.
Would you is a book tour something that you want to do, or are you more of a order it online type of author?
I mean, I'm definitely interested as to going on tour, whether it be somewhere small or somewhere big, just to get my book out there. So I guess once everything is settled over, I wouldn't be against going on a book tour and really just helping other people see my book and give them the interest to reading it.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, it's so interesting to hear the answer to that question. I remember I asked one lady, and she said she was so sweet with her answer. She said, "Darling, I don't want to go on book tour. I'm like 82 years old." And she says, I'm fine here at my home. And I was like, "Oh, yes, ma'am. I understand totally and completely." You know, but then I asked another gentleman, and he said, "Sign me up today. I'm ready to roll." You know, and it's just so funny how, you know, you have your own dream, you know, and who is anyone to tell you that to go or to stay? So I love your answer. I am open to the possibilities when it's safe. That's right. I hear you. I hear you. Now, if there's a bit of advice that you could give to someone who is an aspiring author, regardless of their age, what would that nugget of wisdom be?
Oh, wow. I guess I would say, even if you don't have everything you want to put down and make into a book, and you're struggling with that idea as to what you want your book to sound like or how you want it to be presented, I would tell them not to stress over it not coming to you as quickly as you want it, because the right words come to you in time, and then the moment it comes to you, it just flows, and you have to let it flow if you want it to be as perfect as you see it in your head. So to never stress it, just let it flow.
I love that. Never stress. Just let it flow. There's a tweetable moment for you guys. Make sure that you take that to heart. I think that can apply not only to our writing, but everything that we do in life. Don't stress. Just let it flow. I love it. Well, it is almost time for us to go, but before we do, I want to give you another opportunity, if you will please, to remind everyone. We talked about, in fact, 2 books with you today. So if you could remind everyone, what are the titles of your books? How do we stay in contact with you? And, of course, where can we pick up a copy of them?
Well, Demon in You and The Prowl can be found at Barnes & Noble, at Amazon, at Ex Libris, in their book, and on their book page. You can also find The Prowl, which has its own series, www.theprowlseries.com, and you can also find me on Facebook with any questions you may have of either one.
I love it. Well, Jenna Wilder, thank you so much for being on Daily Spark with Dr. Angela today. I've enjoyed my time with you.
Thank you for having me.
And listeners, thank you for tuning in as well. As always, may the Lord continue to shine his face upon you. May you receive his grace and his mercy in all that you do. Until next time, everyone, remember that you are blessed in the Lord. Have a great day. Bye-bye.